in post this time, we'll redo the sign and stuff, but I think I can fix it easy. And then also the volume, if it's too low,
Brent,
I can
do me
fix
a favor, get that Eagle costume
afterwards.
and fold it and put it in that box with the helmet. The hat. Where's the hat?
Yeah, I was confused last week. I was flipped.
Yeah, you were flipped
Hey, where's
over.
the
Yeah.
mask?
I was on that side.
Eagle's mask. Oh, Brent, can you grab that too? Want to pack it up and put it away so we always have it?
All right, guys, welcome back to the Podpastor episode
Yeah, all right.
8. What are we on? 8?
If you're live, I'm walking right over. Because I warned you about this behavior. I warned you. And you're too big for me to bend over my knee.
And you got no need to bend me over.
I do, but it would look like I had none when you bend over.
All right, guys, we got a good episode. Guys, we have somebody back today.
Mark.
Welcome back, Mark.
All right, you
Good to see you, Mark.
Right, I know.
Mark, welcome back.
Where have you been?
We found him. He grew a beard since the last post, though, Chris. What happened? I thought that was an accurate picture.
Well, you listen. You got to find the most recent picture you can. That's all you can do. We were gonna print it out and have it behind you.
I've been hiding. I've been losing weight, so I've been hiding.
Yes.
It's like it was like the unveil.
Well, let us know if you guys think it was worth it. Let us know if you want him to hide again.
Yes,
I was in weight too, but the camera adds 45 pounds.
I need to hide for another 45.
You guys wouldn't even know, but Mark's $150.
I'm bigger than him.
I'm 170.
So this kid would have been running around that on. Oops.
Guys, we have a good episode for you today. I think. I'm not actually sure.
It's good in our mind.
Yeah, it's
the way
gonna
we
be-
played it out.
So far, I like it. So far, it's my favorite.
Yeah, so welcome back.
Welcome back.
You got to talk into your mic. Just
Yeah,
to,
yeah,
to let you
let's-
know to be a pro.
Welcome back.
We don't got the cheap mics anymore where they can pick you up if you're standing in the back of the room. You got to actually be up on it.
We're going to let Dan have the floor. Since he's been gone, you open us up, Dan.
I would have removed the
set the
chair if you
stage.
want him to sit on the floor.
Well, one of these can set the stage of why I'm about to go into a monologue.
Okay, so we had a. All right, go ahead. Okay. we had a tournament that we just went to this past weekend, which is why my voice is a little rough today. But yeah, there was a few questionable things that happened to one Dan Panichetti's son, and I guess in kind to one Dan Panichetti. So take it away.
All right, so
I don't want to give out too much.
it is. It's the Faith tournament up in Fairless.
By the way, I think it's fair. Sorry to say to you,
It's fair.
I was told there are people that watch this that are going to hear what you're saying.
Oh, good. I'm prepared. I'm good. I'm level-headed.
Who's that? Text me it.
I'm level-headed. So it's the biggest. It's the biggest tournament of the year. We have other tournaments, right? But this is the biggest tournament of the year. It's the biggest tournament of the year in the sense of size, with volleyball and basketball, JV and varsity. Yep. So I was double duty, and Brooke was in volleyball. She played her last year of JV, and she's a starter on varsity. And then Nick is a senior, and it was his final year of basketball. So we get into it, and we've been there. Chris played in the tournament. I played in a tournament, and Chris Jr. played in a tournament.
Yes, sir.
Including Ethan and everyone in our family have played in this tournament. And there's a lot of history. And I've had a lot of time to think and, reflect. And Nick got a technical in the game. It was a 5-point game. They were coming back. And, it was not a questionable call. The boy had slapped right across the face. Everyone heard it. And the ref was standing there and just nodded his head, and Nick was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Right at the ref, and got a deserved, in my opinion, deserved technical.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
He gets up and he turns to all of his uncles and his cousins sitting on the sideline, probably Ethan, and was like, "What?" And the ref, who was on the other side of the gym, hits him with another tee. Now, in this tournament, they have a rule book that they set forth.
And Dan, what's a T?
A technical.
Technical, okay.
So it's a technical foul. It's
Technically, it's a T.
So he leaves the gym immediately, like he should. He doesn't say another word. He leaves the gym. One in the rule book that they put forth, they said, "Hey, one technical, you're out of the game." So he was out of the game. So
Right.
they did not have anything for a second technical,
Right.
in the rule book. So words start, it was just over and done with. Nothing was said. He just left the gym, and we moved on with the game. We wound up losing, and we knew going into their final game it was going to be, if they won,
all hands on deck.
Yeah, a miraculous win in a sense. It would have been an upset. They were definitely the underdog.
Yeah,
they were underdogged. They probably weren't going to win, but you never know. You play the game that's there. Well, we come in the morning. We're there at 8 a.m., and word comes out that 10 minutes before the game that he's not going to be allowed to play. That they thought, well, this wasn't in our rule book, but we're going to go with the rule book from the state, and he's suspended for a game. And Chris and a lot of people were heated. And let me go back for a second. So when the technical happened, none of us did anything. As family, we just sat there.
Right.
No one caused the scene.
Accepted the punishment.
Yeah. And we didn't cause a scene, which is, I'm very happy. I'm very reflective of my actions and how they play out too, and make my kids look. If I get up and throw a temper tantrum, I don't make my kid look any better. I embarrass him. I embarrass our family. So shutting up to me is the best policy. Just shut up. Let everything play out. So the coach comes up. He says, listen, pretty much he's saying it's not a rule, but they're going to make an example out of him and set this standard straight. So I was like, well, and I talked to the coach, said, listen, I'm a chain of command guy. I've been in business a long time. Do you mind if I go above you and talk to him personally as a dad? And he's like, nope, not at all. I would appreciate that you go talk to him. So I go up to the guy running the tournament. I said, listen, multiple people after the game came to me from the scorer's table and said, hey, that referee's fired. He's not coming back. None of us agreed with the second technical. We did not think it was a technical. He wasn't looking at the ref. He wasn't all you can it's clearly see he turns to his family and says, what, like he's asking for what? Like what? And multiple people. So speed it up. Nick goes. So I go up and I just say, hey, listen, as much as you can enforce a brand new rule that you're creating at 8 o'clock in the morning, you can also rescind a technical.
Yeah.
They do it in the professionals. They do it in college. They do it in high school. When a referee gets heated, sometimes a referee is wrong. I have reffed many games where I have had to rescind a title or technical, excuse me.
Right.
So I said, I would appreciate, with respect, I'll respect your decision either way, but I would appreciate you to reconsider. He is a senior.
Yes.
This is his last and final game ever suiting up, if they lose. I get it, but there's also more to play here. This is, think of all of the factors that go into it before you just say, we're making up a new rule. And Chris and I have been a part of many new rules at this tournament that are
always fitting
for one of our players not to be able to play.
Yeah.
And again, this guy has no history, so I'm not blaming this on.
Yeah, he's new.
He doesn't know the history. So
right.
But it's just we've been there so long, so many things have happened. As a parent, you're going,
here we go again.
Yeah, here we go again. So game starts. The coach says you're sitting on the bench. You can do layup lines. Now, technically, that's wrong.
Yeah, you're not even allowed to suit up.
You're not allowed to suit up. If you're ejected, you're not allowed to sit on the bench, which made me mad. Because it's like, stick to the rules. I'm a black and white guy. If you're making up a rule, stick with it. Secondly, what I didn't appreciate was the guy who made the rule did not sit in the gym to watch the game. If you're going to be a decision maker and you're going to run a tournament and you're going to make a decision that affects a team, a player, and then most importantly, a senior, you should have sat your butt down and watched your decision play out. It wasn't a game, which we all knew. They got blown out. What I appreciated was Nick was a pro. He sat on the bench. He cheered,
Yeah, he did a good
jumping
job.
up and down, high-fiving at timeouts, didn't say a word, owned it, went to his teammates and apologized, went to his coach and apologized, sat there the whole tournament for the rest of the weekend as a pro, didn't complain, didn't cry, didn't just a very good attitude.
Right.
Fast forward into another big game. And another technical to another player. And
what team was that?
I'm just going to let that one ride. I have emotional vested interest.
It was
in
a
that
big team, though, right?
Yes, it was a big team, and there was another technical, and they let that kid play in the same game.
And I think it's important to say it's not that you wanted that kid to get kicked out. It's just
rules.
Where's the rules? Right.
And here's the other thing I didn't appreciate.
I don't think that kid should have been kicked out either.
No,
but
agreed. And it wouldn't have been a competitive game if he got kicked out. He was a star player.
He was probably their best.
Now here's what made me mad. They let the refs decide.
Right.
They told the refs what was happening, that this kid was not going to be allowed to play if they kept this technical. So then the referees got with the tournament. It was a 5-minute delay in the game. 5-minute delay. My son did not get a 2-minute delay. He didn't get a 1-minute delay. No one talked about it. He was gone, made up a rule, couldn't play. And again, the killer factor isn't the kid getting a technical, because I didn't want that kid to get kicked out.
Right.
And again, it's an emotional game. These are kids.
Yeah.
I've reffed men's church league, and it's much worse, and these guys play every week. So what I'm saying is...
They give them guys goatees.
So what I'm saying is 5-minute delay, and the referees, who were good referees, you could talk to them. They were very kind. We're like, whoa. If this kid can't play, it's not a tech. Like, we're going to call it not a behavioral tech.
Right.
And it was just like, that's the right decision.
Yeah.
That was the right decision. But yet, an hour before this, you just made a horrible decision.
Right.
So what I've reflected on as a parent, what I've reflected on in being in Christianity so long, and this just goes to the Christian school entirely. School is a season. Christianity is for life.
Right.
For eternity.
And if we're making adult decisions for these kids who are emotional, going through change, going through puberty, going through all that, and making life decisions for them, kicking them out of a school, suspending them and expelling them and all of this other stuff, and holding them to this standard that these kids go and watch the adults play, and there's way more emotion and way more going on. It's learned behavior. Yeah. And if we're not going to hold our men to the same standard and then expect our kids to come in, and it's again, and I think I'm more worried about Nick being bitter 3 years from now.
Yeah.
That's one thing I told you, which you can say, is that the fact that it's your last game, my senior year, broke my ankle right before the Faith tournament. And I tried to power through most of the tournament and still play because it was my last tournament. And I knew I'm going to look back on this and I'm going to be upset if I don't try to play. And I played most of my games with a broken ankle. But when it came time for Bethel Harbor, it was actually super swollen, barely fitting in my sneaker, and I decided to sit out. And even though I missed that game due to injury, I still look back and I'm like, man, I missed my last game.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't play my last game.
Yep. And that's where, for me, with Christianity, my son hearing God's voice, my son being in church and faithful and all of those things in the future, I just hope that this isn't the seed of bitterness that is like, I mean, I've had my own issues with church and with how things have led in my life and decisions that pastors have made that eventually led me to being so bitter, not blaming them for my decision. But I left church for 3 years. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to talk to anyone. Your words were like, they could not minister to me no more because of the bitterness that has sown in my own heart. And that's my concern now is they made a decision for a kid who was not really behaviorally bad.
No.
He was emotional.
Yeah, I agree.
Getting slapped in the face on a big shot that wasn't called. And that's respectable because that happens all the time and takes me to some of my bad decisions as reffing. I'm going to serve Chris a spike here.
Oh, yeah. Well, before we get into that, also, I want to get Podpastor. I want to get your thoughts on this topic as well.
Oh, okay. So, well,
after the intro,
because you
we'll
had
see in a minute.
Because you. Well, anyway, so we're teeing it up to Priest.
yeah. So back to the subject. Would you ask me what was my take on it? I just think, first of all, I begin with the tournament's a Christian tournament, and they pray beforehand, and they want to give God the glory, and so we got to keep that in mind. And then the refs. I think we do a bad job at the age of the refs. The refs are too old. You disrespect an old man. It's disrespect. It is, no matter what. They're going to take it. They take it even further because they're just like, you young punk, I'm going to show you. So I think that technical was more of that. It wasn't, he didn't get in his face. There was kids there cursing at the referees. One of the kids received a technical for cursing at the referee and was allowed to play the rest of the tournament. So to me, hearing that, it blows my mind. Now, do I know that's true? No, but I did hear it from a staff member at the table that there was a kid who got it. I saw a coach clapping and laughing in the face of a kid on the other team playing, like smack talking. So what is the level that we're allowed to say things to the ref? What is the level we're allowed to smack talk? That's competition. So that's where it comes back to the Christian league. All right, we're not going to put up with. And so the guy I know who's new at that is his first time, I think, running a tournament. And I do give him grace because of that. But once he changed the rule for the other kid who got a technical and shouldn't be allowed to play, and he slammed the basketball, and basketball is not allowed to come past your shoulders. Anything above it's a technical. So he slammed it. He's a good kid. The ball came up past him. He got a technical. Why was he allowed to stay in the game and play? Now, he should be allowed, in my mind.
Right.
A technical's a technical. Nicky got 2 of them. I think after 2, you're done, right?
But in this game,
it was
one, and you were ejected
right.
from the game.
So because of that, he now just made his leadership questionable, and that's what's the problem. Like, if you're going to say it, you got to do it. You got to just say, I'm sorry, I made this rule up for this kid. He just missed his game, and now your kid's got to miss it. I'm sorry.
I'll come out and say this right now. If that kid that got the technical that they let play again doesn't play,
They lose
I don't
that
think
kid.
that team wins the championship.
Nope.
They
They
lose
lose
that
that
they're
game.
even close.
And listen, I know that kid
But
personally.
should that kid be removed for what he did now?
No.
About the kid that cursed, though.
Well, listen, here's my point. We had a volleyball tournament, and actually one of the guys, I'm reffing, and I make a questionable call. It's a 50-50 call.
Yeah.
He drops the F-bomb.
Yeah.
And I was like, everyone's like, and I'm like, calm down, everyone calm down. I've learned this in my own career, whatever, playing. I'm playing to win. I'm giving it everything that I have. And when someone takes that from you, or you feel that, there's a level of emotion that you should respect.
Right.
That they're laying it all out there. They're playing the best that they can. Emotionally, they're 100% invested.
Well,
and there should be some forgiveness in the fact that it's an immediate reaction. It might not be the right one.
Yeah, exactly.
But you should be a professional as a ref to say, hey, I understand that. I understand your frustration. We're good.
Well, even usually-
50-50 call.
And honestly, we could say it's a Christian league, so any disrespect, anything can be not tolerated. We agree. The problem is it's a basketball game. It's all pride. It's all competition.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as putting God first over did that ball go off. You imagine a player. Now, you should. If it's a Christian league and we're training them right, we should teach our kids. If that ref called a foul on you, you didn't touch that kid, you should go to that ref and say, I didn't call that. And you know what that ref's going to do? Mind your business. I'm the ref. He's
Yeah.
going to get mad.
Right.
Even if you said it, even if you're being honest and truthful. Or how about if the ball goes off you out of balance and you go up to the ref? No, it's my bad. That
Right.
went off. That would be real Christianity.
Right.
And that's never going to happen in sports because you're
Right.
wanting to win. It's rare that happens.
Yeah.
Even the guys in the NBA and the NFL who praise the Lord, they flop to get calls.
Right.
It's like they're not being.
You're playing the game within the rules.
Yeah.
And again, I will say this. Let's just take it back to the Bible because I have a lot of time to reflect. Peter cursed the Lord
Yes.
in the moment, in the stage.
That's in our Easter play.
It was emotional. He was emotional. He was scared. Just kind of put yourself in a competition. It's the kind of same emotion. And Peter completely failed and cursed God. And God knew it. God already told him you were going to do it.
Yep.
So again, we're putting this expectation on a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old,
Yes.
18-year-old, and they're not even fully mentally developed yet to control that. So our expectation of making that, oh, you need to control this,
Right.
is ridiculous. Yes, if it's an outburst, it's a teaching lesson. They're kids. We're teaching them in school every day. We're teaching them in Bible classes. That's just more of a learning lesson
Right.
that we can all grow from. And if you're a parent and you look at another kid who, if that kid who dropped the F-bomb, I mean, I've seen plenty of them.
Yeah.
I don't look at the kid as like this throwaway,
Terrible person, yeah.
right? Like I'm going.
It's like a technical.
You should hear me when I don't get a sale on life insurance.
You tee him up, and it tells him, "Okay, that's enough. One more,
Right.
double tee, you're out of the
Yes.
game."
Yeah.
But you don't. I don't think you should suspend him. And then if you're going to for help for the guy that runs it, I was talking to him, and I'm like, "You got to sit and make that the rule because you made it now. It's the rule, but you got to have levels to it. It's got to be like there was a flagrant foul.
Oh, yeah.
Against Solid Rock, that kid almost broke that up. He got a technical and ejected out of the game.
Right.
But that kid played the rest of the tournament.
Right.
And that's what blows your mind. It's like, wait, this kid gets 2. This kid gets 1. This kid gets 1. This kid gets 1. The 1 was a flagrant. So if anything, you go back to the flagrant. That flagrant foul, that kid, and I know what team he plays for, and I want to say the name, but
No, wait a second. Where's Mark? Wait. Guys, check under the...
He ain't getting under there.
Where's... One second. I think I know where he's at. 1 minute. He's in the hallway. It's time for our Hallmark moment, guys. We'll see you back in a second.
So stupid.
Hey guys, it's Mark here. This is a hallway, obviously. Another Hallmark moment. Anyway, I really like Pastor Chris, but some of the people in the church have been complaining he's going a little bit too long with these sermons lately. So anyway, I sent away for these for him. I know you're going to say, it's a box of Raisinets. It's not. It's actually, they're called sermonettes, okay? Bite-sized morsels for long-winded pastors. So anyway, let's give these to Pastor, and hopefully he can give them a try.
Come in.
Hey, Pastor. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
All right.
Once again, it's Mark.
Yeah, it's me, Anyway, some of the people have been complaining you've been going a little long on Sunday, especially with the, the games coming up and stuff like that. So anyway, I went out and I got you these.
Oh, Raisinets.
No, they're not Raisinets, Pastor.
Sermonettes. Bite-sized morsels for long-winded pastors. Thank you so much,
I'm always
Mark.
thinking of you, all right?
I appreciate that.
Yeah, try them out on Sunday.
I'll try one this Sunday. How's
Okay,
that?
sounds
when
good.
When do I take it?
Right before the service, you
Okay, cool.
just open it up and read it,
Mark,
and you're golden.
tell you what, you got me eating devil dogs late last night, and this week you got me
Wanting Raisinets, but getting sermonettes. I got you.
Good morning, congregation. Glad you're with us on this beautiful Sunday morning. I have a 10-point message.
Sermonettes!
Is it right? Oh, that's right. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I got sermonettes, and I'll told by Brother Mark here, if I take one of these, it'll help me preach a little better. Let me see, where are these at? Oh, amen. My sermon for today is Jesus wept. God bless you. I hope you have a great week. And don't forget, Jesus wept. God bless.
All right. Amen. We didn't even have to give an offering today. This was great. Unbelievable.
Back out
Well,
there.
and
That's
listen,
how
the last thing I'll say on this whole point is reaction, I feel, in anything. I mean, you see it in sports all the time. The reaction to a bad call, the reaction to a bad moment is always a key. I feel like it's a determining factor.
Yeah.
And our reaction as a family, sitting there quietly, our reaction after watching that other kid get all the other things that went on, we sat there professionally. We didn't complain. I didn't say another word to anyone about it.
I did.
Nick didn't say another word.
I was going to say.
Didn't say another word about anything about it. So I feel that the reaction from us is just you rise above.
Yeah, and the guy that makes he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He had to make a rule. He didn't think it through. And I think that's where the authority above him needs to sit with him.
Well, they thought it through the next time, and
What I'm saying.
that's the problem.
They waited too long.
Yes.
You got to think it through right at the moment,
Yeah.
not the next day. So there should have been a meeting that night with the player and the coach and the parent.
And multiple
And
coaches,
said-
because
and
if
the
you're going to create a
referees.
rule,
Right.
all the coaches
Hey,
should have
listen,
involved.
if you double T him, we don't have a rule, but usually that means he's expelled from playing. Do you think his offense was that bad?
Right.
Like they asked the other ref, they would have both said no.
Right.
There's no way.
Right.
And he would have been fine.
Mark?
So,
Hi.
yeah, welcome, Mark.
Yeah.
What sports?
Hey guys. Yeah. Well, I did.
I just bets on him.
I did BMX growing up, so
Yeah, you're good
our,
at it.
our racing team was more like the Bad News Bears. So
It's us.
Unfortunately, if there was a bad call, well, actually, it wasn't a bad call. One time, I had a guy. Pulled the whole shot. The guy ran my rim up the back, which slowed me down. So my guys all jumped over the fence and caused a mess. But anyway, but as far as the aspect goes, I think Danny hit the nail on the head with, you're playing in a Christian league. There needs to be that forgiveness.
Yes. Yeah,
Because
I
if
agree.
you're not exerting that forgiveness, with temperament, especially with kids,
Right.
it's important,
Yeah. I do that with my kids. I correct them. There's rules. They have the punishment. But then after a little bit, a day or two, I go and say, okay, you learned, I hope. I'm going to give you grace and mercy.
I feel like we had a podcast about how to do this. What was that word again that we came
Yeah,
to?
and again, Christianity
Contention.
lasts a lifetime. So you're going to get more with honey than you are with vinegar. And we make these stands against these kids, and it's just like the expectation is they're adults.
Yeah.
And I make mistakes there. Like a pastor, not even a pastor, was like, but you're not being a Christian the way you're saying. He's a fraud in his faith. And he was right. Because do I really know him as a Christian? No. Should I know him as a Christian running the? Yes, I should say, man, he's got a high standard. He expects a lot, and he will stick to it. But then he has grace and mercy too in situations where it's needed, because not every situation will call for grace.
Right.
So if you punch a coach but then I thought some of the coaches should have got. If Nicky got a technical for what he did, every single coach mostly should have had double T's, triple T's every game, because that's how bad the reffing is. And that's one thing maybe we need to work on. And we got to start sending some of our young men who know the game to get their referee license and teach them you can't be biased and stuff. They teach you that. And then let them ref, because you got to have young blood. These old guys can't even run up and down the court.
They're out
and
of
I'm
position.
tired of the excuse of, well, that's all we could get. Like, no, it's not all you could get. Charge more money to each team. Bring in young blood, even unsaved guys. That's what we're there. And let them ref. Stop being faithful to these guys who do a terrible job and affect the game in a negative manner.
Well, that was the Faith Tournament, everybody.
Yeah.
All right.
That was the podcast. We love you guys. Have a good week.
And listen, it's not the church; it's all the teams together.
And listen, I want to
We're not
highlight.
talking about the
Guys,
pastor,
and
church.
easy. We just got out of it. We're getting
Hold
right
on.
back
Wait,
in.
hold on. But to end it this way, here's a good way of ending it. It is a phenomenal tournament. Our kids love it.
It's the best
It's the
tournament.
highlight of the year.
Best tournament, hands
So
down.
there's always going to be issues. There's always going to be every year. There's an issue. So it happened. It falls
And
on
I
us.
think you tack the issue where it's at, and it's the referees need to be adjusted. We need to fix it.
Yeah.
You're never going to get great refs where they're amazing, but younger they're involved
In position.
and there also should be a third referee at the table,
Right.
Who's the boss,
Right.
Who then makes a final decision
Yes.
with the coach.
knowing the rules, right?
He's more technical. He could
Yeah.
be the older guy.
Yeah.
But that way, the younger guy, because I saw Rock's referees are younger, and they take a lot of abuse.
Oh, yeah.
They understand the game.
Yes, yeah.
OCCA's refs, they're older, but
We
they
lost
take the
them.
abuse. So I think that's where it begins. You could say, well,
Well, hold
it
on. Let
begins
me
with
ask you
your
this.
kid, But
Let me ask you this. Should you pay refs?
that's a good question. Not if they're doing their job. If they're not doing their job right, they should get fines. Like, okay, you blew the game. What's the punishment for that?
So, all right. Well, then let me
So
ask you this:
they-
Should you pay ministry staff?
Not if
Way
they're
to
doing-
go. Way to go to try to get into the next subject.
Not if they're doing their job wrong.
This is where we've been going.
I
We've
mean,
been trying to
you pay
get
them,
to, guys.
Yes, I think payment of ministry workers is a good thing. What do you think?
Well,
I think it's a good thing.
Well, we're all
Done.
PKs here, so I
We all
think
suffer then.
I think the thing that comes down is like the outside world and even people within the church judge the ministers about like their pay, their salary, what they get, what they have. I mean, I know growing up, my parents, they had air conditioners in all the windows at the parsonage, but there were maybe people in church that didn't have air conditioners that are like, why does the pastor get an air conditioner and I don't?
Right.
But I think that, pastors in ministry and people in ministry should get paid according to, the income from the church.
Yes. Percentage. Yeah.
Based on, what the percentage of the church is bringing in. And to a point, because there is a point where that becomes, when you have these mega ministries and you have a minister, getting paid multi-million dollars and stuff like that, I think it starts to go the wrong way.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a very hard thing to judge where you need to
Yeah,
be
because some of them believe that.
with that.
And they wind up paying their pastor under it's under the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not under the table cash, but it's so low the pastor has to go and work to just to have the basics.
What would a pastor even do? Like deliver cakes or?
Yeah, exactly. Deliver cakes. I do. I deliver cakes. I work with the Teamsters. If somebody calls me for a day's work and I can do it, I'll take it. Painters and stuff. So I always make myself available. And that's not unbiblical.
Why don't you ref at the faith tournament?
I can't. And I'll tell you why I cannot ref. I don't know.
He'd get fined.
I don't know the game inside and out.
He has one eye.
I have one eye, and I have a bad temper.
They'll get a half off discount for you.
You can't have a temper, and you can't have a. You
got to be emotionally in check.
Yes, and
That's why he'd get fined. He'd get many T's.
Yeah, I don't blame those refs for losing.
Pastor, that is very good self-awareness from you.
Thank the Lord for it. You got to be honest with yourself. That was
Honest with
Wow.
yourself. Yeah, that was the sermon today.
But here's the thing, though. Paying ministers is important. Paying staff, if you can, is important. And the Bible does say, when a man don't go to war at his own charge. So I should not fund myself to do God's work. He'll take care of it, and he uses God's people to do it. But here's the thing. I'm an under shepherd, so he's above me. And that's who I answer to. Now, who do these refs answer to?
Right. Well, for us, no one, because we're not under the jurisdiction of the state, but yet we utilize state rules.
And they don't really answer to anybody. They could make the most horrendous calls in a game, and there's no punishment at all. But yet your guy makes a mistake out of emotion, and he's done for the tournament. So there's going to have to be a third. I think bring a third guy.
Found our way back somehow.
Rules. I'm on it now.
My
It
goodness.
ain't the guy who runs the tournament's fault.
We said this is I know, for the 9th time.
You make
it's
the
not
rule,
his fault.
But when you make your bed, you got to sleep in it. And you made the bed, and you didn't sleep.
sleep
Yeah, and
on the
listen,
floor.
I was thinking. Here's something that we can talk about, because I was thinking about this today, and this applies across everything. When something bad happens to you, and it's kind of just over. Someone who got a good person, and they just get cancer, and that feeling of like getting sold out, kind of like, there's no repercussions for cancer, right? There's no repercussions for Nick being essentially kicked out of the tournament.
Yeah, that referee never came back either.
Right, yeah, they fired the ref, right?
Well, I heard that, but then I heard he wasn't coming back. It was his day off, but then he wasn't there for the
The
championships.
tournament, they came to me and told me that he is not coming back.
Yeah, so they knew the problem,
Yes.
which is good.
But my point is,
Got that one down.
what is the reaction? Because everyone wants their get back.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be like, I was right. They want that moment of I was right.
That's the human
and
side.
what happens in
tell
this situation are many, right?
We
And
talk about it on the podcast.
yeah, talk about it.
No, I'm saying that's what we do. We talk about it on the podcast.
But what is
No,
it?
but I understand what he's saying.
I think if they obviously they kind of changed their temperament
Yeah.
for the next player,
Which is good.
So
They
it would have
learn.
been nice if they at least would have came back to Nick and said, "Hey,
Yes.
listen, you know what,
Yes.
buddy, we made a mistake.
That's all they.
Own up to that."
Yes,
I think that's important.
we should have let you get in that game.
And let me tell you something to that story. So there was the tournament the weekend before. We're playing against OCCA, and one of the parents is screaming at one of the players on our team, not Nick, but they're screaming at him and saying some really bad things. So Nick runs down the court, and as he runs down the court, he looks at me and he goes, "Yo, this guy's yelling at us, and we're not going to keep our cool much longer." So I was like, "Who?" So everyone points him. So I just walk down. I walk up to him. I said, "Hey, sir, I'm one of the kids' dads. We don't appreciate you yelling at the kids. Cheer all you want, but respectfully, know your place. You're a grown man. They're children. Their reaction, they're going to get kicked out of the game, suspended from school, judged, and you're a grown man antagonizing it."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, go sit down." And I was like, "Okay, listen, I'm respectfully coming over here as a parent. I'm a very cool-headed person. I don't lose my cool. I don't want to disrespect him. He's 40. He's a 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
There's a way of approaching people." He came to Nick this weekend and apologized at the tournament.
That's awesome.
Way to go. Clap it up for that guy.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, that takes a lot of
Humility.
but he also it took him a week to kind of probably think it through, and that's the point I was about to say. That guy has to live with that decision, and it's every time he sees me, he sees Nick, it's going to play in his mind, and until you ask for that forgiveness, it'll eat you inside.
Yeah.
And I kudos to that dad who came to Nick, because he now for me I'm like no, and again, that's where I was just getting to that point of what is the repercussions, and I think you'll never know it because it'll eat someone inside.
It eats me up to this day. I mean, we not just that tournament, a ton of these tournaments, when they did have their own church refs, they would rip us off.
Yeah.
So that isn't the fix either. We need trained professionals to be trained. But I also think bringing Christian refs in is a big difference too.
Yeah.
I know we
But,
like.
I'm talking about just from like even you as a leader. You probably made bad decisions.
always do.
How much do they eat you up inside?
It kills you. You wish you can go back and change it. The only thing you could do is apologize.
The only thing you could do is start a podcast with him.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? So
That was the mistake.
Ethan had a coach badmouth him to a youth leader. The youth leader goes to the girl Ethan's talking to and says, "You're not allowed to talk to him over, pass down news." So he tells me, I catch wind. I call the coach right away. He's real humble, and I'm not being mean. The Lord's controlling me. I'm just like, "Hey, bro, this is what he's saying. You said to this guy, I need his number. I want to talk to that guy." So then I talk to that guy. He tells me the coach told him. So I go back to the coach. He apologizes. You know what I said? No, don't apologize to me. You didn't offend me. You offended Ethan. You got to call him. And he did. And I have a lot of respect for that guy.
Yeah.
The other guy, however, never did. And it's different. They're both there, and I have respect for one, and the other one I don't have no respect for. And I don't treat them disrespectfully. That's one thing we got to learn too. You don't have to have respect for somebody, but you don't have to be disrespectful to them because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I play a lot of my decisions in my head, and I can't. It's like I have
That's
to
why
say.
your hair went quick.
Yeah. I how many times do I bring it up? How much I messed up?
Oh my goodness! Like every time you see me and Lily together, or anytime we watch volleyball.
Yeah, I'm like I messed up so bad. Like,
I do
and
that
it's a
too.
simple decision in a round robin
Yeah.
game, but it was such a bad decision that I legit play it over. Like, man, I really screwed
I had to
up.
apologize to a guy today after service.
Pop.
No. Pop calls it. Pop brings the guy up. Can't find a seat. He brings him to the middle of the sanctuary. Okay. But Usher 101 says you get somebody to move over. You get
Sit him in the back.
folding chair. Yeah. So the guy is offended because it's such a distraction to me. I have to stop. And I have to say, yeah, bring him up front, Pop. Like, hey, good job. And I had to apologize. That guy came to me later. He's a guest. He's a strange guest, but he's a guest. And he said to me, he's like, you really offended me by stopping your whole service to point me out, sitting down. And I'm like, you're
Yeah,
right.
you do that a lot.
I was like, I shouldn't. I said I shouldn't. Well, see, so to this guy that he don't watch, but if someone is that knows, and we're not blaming the guy, we're just saying admit if it was a bad call, and you say, hey, they're right. They got, and you know what we don't work on in our church groups? We could be right. So our kid's school was wrong on an issue. They admit it being wrong on the issue, and then they never changed the issue, and that's what bugs me the most. So even if they admit they're wrong, you got to still adjust. You got to go change. So that's what being honest with ourselves means. I got to be honest with myself. I'm prideful, or I'm this, or I'm that. The guy rebuked me lovingly there at the tournament, and I could be like, I'm a pastor, or I'm right, and I am right, because it's a bad rule, and it doesn't make sense. We don't go by PA. We're separate church and state. So don't bring in state rules when they benefit you, and then throw them out when they benefit you.
Yeah.
So we were right. It's just what I said was wrong. And so he was right to tell me, and I had it. You're right. I apologize.
I'm thinking these tournaments could be improved. After the tournament, bring out an MMA cage, and everybody can just settle everything.
There you go.
I think that would make it even more exciting.
It's a bad place for pastors to be because it is such an emotional game.
It's
Well,
games.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And it's your kids out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
And your kid's a great player, and they need him. I mean, we were in a tournament last year. They foul out Ethan with 20 seconds left. The ball handler of the team. And they lost the championship. And it was a bad foul. No contact at all. The guy just couldn't see it. You know why? He wasn't in position.
Yeah, and I think you guys had mentioned too about the kids league. They generally want to win
Yeah, of course.
over anything.
We teach them that. We teach them play whatsoever your hand findeth to do it with all your might. Don't play aggressive though, because that's fleshly. It's like that. Don't go. Like these kids got to hit each other. They got to foul each other. You'll know when it's done with malicious.
Let Mark finish his point.
I'll tell you a story that I think you'll enjoy. Sherry was in a race, a motocross race, and the one girl she ran into her, fell over, and instead of Sherry just blowing past her, Sherry gets off her bike and tries to help her up.
Oh,
Wow.
And of course, we're all screaming at her.
Yeah.
What are you
You're in a
doing?
race.
You're in a race,
Yeah.
but so
And see that
is probably the way we should
guess
play
what?
sports, but
That's the real Christian way we're going to have to learn to play. But it's not going to happen because you got kids that aren't spiritual. They're not spiritual minded. But then we as leaders need to be, and so we got to be right.
I
on
mean,
our
do you
rules
believe
and
though
right on decisions.
do you believe? Because here's where I feel like we messed up. It's learned behavior.
Yeah.
My behavior on that basketball court when I played, I told Dom this and you when we were sitting there. I said, man, if I had to sit here and watch me play in high school, I would hate me.
Yeah.
Because I played with such a chip on my shoulder. I didn't care who you were. I was running through you. And I was friends with most of the people I played against, went to college with them eventually. But, man, when we hit that court, it was the
Changes. They're my enemy.
Yeah.
I wanna
yes,
beat you
I'm
into the
going to
ground,
beat you
especially
mentally and physically. So, and I feel like it's learned behavior. So where is this learned behavior, right? We're praising sports guys who will claim the name of the Lord and they have great attitudes after that game. But you can even hear a video clip of them mic'd up because it's expletives every other third word.
Right.
So, and the kids are watching that, or they're coming to our men's leagues and watching that. And none of us, when we're still playing to win at 40 years old, and it's horrible winning, and it's ugly. It's not even
And what
talented.
are we really winning?
Right.
Like even these tournaments, they all get at first place. But what do you really win?
Well, ready, here it is. It's not winning. We all hate to lose,
Exactly.
and and none of us teach how to be a good loser.
Yes.
We teach just don't lose.
I'll tell you who's a gracious loser.
You are?
They call her. It's Olivia Grace.
Oh yeah, from Faith.
First of all, a stud of a girl volleyball player, and she's young. but she got beat in a game where there was two balls that were in. They were out, but they were counted in against their team, and they were clearly out on ours. We were sitting there, and everybody's saying it. So I feel bad for line judges, but she knew it. She knew it. She got it at the end of the game. She shook and smiled and talked to every one of the girls that just beat her and was like, good game, good game, good game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she was fired up in that moment, but she don't yell, scream, and that's the way I think we need to train all of them. But it's just a good spirit about her, too. But then she wound up coming back and beating South Rock in 2 games, JV and varsity. Yeah. And I think you're blessed for that. Learning how to lose teaches you how to win.
Salt Rock did pretty good though in their losses.
They do too.
They get during the game they'll get emotional, but when the game's over, like your girls, like the Salt Rock girls, when that game was over, they were right up at the net.
Yeah.
I mean, there was
good. And it's not. And then sometimes there's.
Tell you who wasn't gracious losing this year, Bethel. They had Sam Stahl ripping his jersey off, throwing it on the court.
He does it every game.
He does it even with a win. He storms off the court.
Yeah,
he storms off the court.
He's just mad at the refs.
My favorite thing was at the Ocean County tournament. He missed a 3, and he was like, "Man, these refs stink." But he was like wide open.
He jacked it off the top of the backboard
twice.
But I'll tell you, it's as a dad, as a fan, I love watching it. I love sitting there watching the games and these kids compete. It's rewarding to kind of get them outside of all of that. So
and it's good. It's good. Our kids get out, they fellowship, they meet each other, they're running off, they're burning energy.
We're gonna have to cut it. Yep.
Yeah. Well, we didn't even talk about should I get paid.
Well, I guess not. Listen, every time I tried to change the subject, you didn't let me.
And I tried.
Thank you.
I tried too.
I just think it's a heavy subject that has a lot of depth to it. It isn't just making a rule up. It goes all the way back to the referees, then the coaches. It's true.
We're not leaving the subject. Just accept it.
We're just saying the same thing over and over
But let me
again.
ask you this: were the coaches wrong for arguing a call? No.
No.
But then the referee got mad at our Dan Robb. All he said was, "Are you sure that's a traveling?" In the first play of the game, and the guy went off. The same ref that double teamed Nick went off on him. Sit down, like belittle him like a child.
Yes.
And I just think that's the wrong spirit, also.
Right.
And how are you going to tell a ref that don't have the Holy Spirit how to be Christ-like? It's impossible. And so it's a tough.
You can anoint him
thing.
right there on the court.
And I'm not saying Christian refs make it better. They got. Pride,
but listen, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, bad decisions are going to happen, and they're going to make. They run this tournament every year. They make bad decisions. They're going to make a bad decision. You can't expect them. Did they make? In our opinion, did they make a bad decision? Yes.
I broke mine.
Did Nick handle it right? 100%. Did me as a dad handle it right? Thank God. Yes. It took a lot, but the only thing I think missing here now is them coming to Nick, like Mark said,
you know who did
and
a really
owning
good job
it
too. Laura. I
respectfully.
thought she was going to lose it.
Yeah, so did I.
She did good.
Did she?
I mean,
Oh, wait.
according to what I'm hearing.
If we're gonna button it up, let's button it up. So, what are you saying about the refs? How do you fix it?
It's hard fix. We're gonna have to. Well, I think it all
I
comes.
can't. It's my first week
No,
back.
he's trying to set me up.
It's my first week back. I can't diss him.
Come on, you were looking.
You can't hear. Dan brings up the biggest point of the day: learn to lose. And doesn't that what Jesus called us to do? And I have a hard time with that. And I had to lose this weekend when I was right about the guy, but saying it the wrong way, saying the wrong thing. I was wrong. It made me wrong. I had to lose, So losing is what Jesus said. He that loses his life shall find it.
Yeah.
So I think we got to all learn to lose. Maybe that's how we got to start training our kids.
Yeah, and again, James 4, right? Being humble, the humble succeed.
Yeah.
So again, that's where for me, I'm just praying that this bitterness doesn't kind of. Again, I know how it built up to me.
Yeah, I'm worried his future is going there.
Yes.
He'll hate it.
Yes.
I hate it still.
Right.
And I love the pastor there now. It's not the same spirit.
No.
It's a different spirit.
Right.
But when those things happen, it's hard to believe that.
It's hard to get over. So
it's hard.
so that's my prayer.
Yeah.
That's it. It's good. But I was proud of Brooke. I didn't talk about her, but I was super proud of her.
Man,
she
was good.
She played her butt off.
Did really good.
I think if Olivia Grace, AJ, for Faith, had anybody that could challenge her, it was Brooke.
Yeah.
Nobody else could defend that spike. That spike is sickening, amazing. And she's smart. And Brooke she would go to her left, Brooke would go to her left. I mean pancaking it.
Yeah, it was awesome. So it was it was fun.
Nobody even talked about how good the Hallmark moment was. This episode was.
You
just
didn't
a
let us
shambles
watch
today.
it.
It was good. I like.
You didn't let me watch it. Oh,
I enjoyed it. I need.
We
to learn
always
how
just
to-
talk about it when we come back.
you got to tell me the news. You got to tell me what the new things are.
Sermonettes. It was great.
Yes.
Sermonettes. I
Yes,
need to take
perfect.
them.
Just
And
for you.
We need to peddle them to every preacher.
We could probably make some money off this. Yes.
We need
Oh, great!
100%.
And now we're making money.
That,
for the
you know
business.
what? You know what? That whole basketball conversation could have used a sermonette.
Yeah. There you go.
There we go.
Congratulations, by the way. Congratulations, Salt Rock JV and Faith second place because they were terrible for years. So it's good to finally
Stay
see them.
tuned next week for part 2.
I like their coach.
Part 3. We'll
I
have
like-
Nick on next week.
I honestly
Some of
love
the other players.
The ref. Nick and the ref.
Make refs great
We
again.
have the refs coming.
Make refs great again. When we were younger,
We should have the ref here right now to eject my dad. Tee him up. Get him out of here.
But anyway, Salt Rock JV champions, Faith second, and varsity was Harbor.
They played phenomenal.
Yeah, they were good this
They
year.
shot so
Harbor.
good. They shot so good in that
There's
championship
Harbor
game.
kids. They play with fire, but after they're good kids
Yeah.
too. You just get to know them.
Yeah.
And so congratulations to them. And then of course Faith's volleyball. They haven't won since Lily, my daughter-in-law, was on their team.
Yep.
And she was just telling me. Only varsity. So the JV and the varsity to win both. That's awesome.
And to beat Solid Rock.
Shout out Miss
That's a
Kendra.
juggernaut. Salt Rock's a juggernaut.
Shout out Miss Kendra Dutry.
And I think Faith and Salt Rock's volleyball coach.
Their volleyball coach.
And the other one, very good. What's the name of them? Somerset's coach. They've been doing it a long time. They're very good coaches, and they never lose their temper. The men can learn from the women how to talk to the refs, especially
So-
when a shot don't go the way they want it to go.
We're gonna close up. Anybody have any
know
other
I
things?
feel it.
Any last closing remarks? We'll start with
Technical.
Mark.
Hey.
That's his 5th word of the podcast.
I'm not.